I'm going to take a Tao Te Ching break. You know what? I find this to be the simplest, most easy to understand material that there is, that is so concise. I just love how it's very precise and concise. It does not contain excess verbiage. Once you learn how to read it, it becomes something that's very wonderful. So what I'm going to be doing is reading from the Stephen Mitchell version. He's got one thing in here that I don't like. Oh, my name is Dan Paulson, by the way, everybody. I've learned how to interpret material from antiquity, and I find one common path within all of them. So what I'm going to do is apply that knowledge to this interpretation right here. And you can watch and see whether you agree or not. Okay, again, I'll be using the Stephen Mitchell. There's a couple of things he did in here that I don't like. One of them was, and it works here, but I don't like what he did. There's a point where, as the material is, all of the things are master or he or something like that. He was polite and tried to make it more balanced. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She has but doesn't possess, acts but doesn't expect. When her work is done, she forgets it. That is why it lasts forever. Now that's fine, and it's fine in this material because he's not using a mental hierarchy. But much material does, where male is the conscious, female is the inside. The female is never going to be watching things come and go. It's always the male that's going to. So you have to be careful when you're making tweaks in the material, trying to adjust words. I don't like words adjusted. I would prefer them to be left completely intact the way they were, and try to interpret from there. They were putting something in. You see that in the Bible as people are trying to correct things. There's stuff being lost. So to that end, not only when I'm doing my own studies, quite frankly, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got different copies of the Tao Te Ching from different translators. Chinese doesn't translate into English well at all. You can read something and go, boy, that sounds strange. And then read the same one from a different translator and think, well, that doesn't even... You'd check the numbers. Was that even the same one? They don't sound anything alike. Yeah, it gets that radical. Some people will say, stick with one certain one. You know what? Average it out. I want to know what 5 or 6 different people think, not just what one person thinks. There's ones like this. I don't remember if I got this on a good deal or whether somebody gifted it to me. Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, translated by James Legge, and it's very nice. But you know what it is? It's a tabletop book. He tried to purposefully interpret in such a way that everything rhymes, which means he's not picking the best word to stick to the original translation. He's trying to make that word adjust as best he can to something that's rhyming. That's wrong. Don't grab something like this to study. These are going to be really whacked out. It's pretty. Nice pictures. You want to study it? Ooh, it went bad. There is one translational difference that I would accept, and I think I'm going to put it in as I read through his right here. I'm going to use his copy to read through because it's just easier to manage, and it's got some good language that I like. It's easy to see what is going on. But ultimately, the path is for anybody, male or female, man or woman. So when it's saying man or something like that, or woman or something like that, it starts looking like gender things. Those are important in like Jewish material or in like Greek mythologies, where the women are bad and doing all those things and the men are. If you knew that those were monomyths and how to play them out, it would make sense. But the hierarchy has to be maintained. You don't switch up genders because that's a mental hierarchy. That's not happening here once again. But if anything, what I would do is to treat it all like, instead of saying things arise and he lets them come, or things arise and she lets them come, it would be something like, things arise and the master lets them come. Things disappear and the sage lets them go, or something like that. I would use gender neutral verbiage as opposed to trying to balance out how many times we fairly use man and woman between the two. Yeah, I would make it something that's gender neutral. Okay, so for here, I'm just going to read the Stephen Mitchell. What is the Tao Te Ching? Let's take a look at something very quickly from Wikipedia. I just downloaded this and we'll take a quick look and then move on and get right into it. All right, well, just some fun history. Here's a picture of the Tao Te Ching, or a part of the Tao Te Ching. Ink on silk manuscript of the Tao Te Ching. 2nd century BC is where that came from. It's been excavated back as far as 4th century BC, so it's roughly contemporaneous with the Buddha. Yeah, and about 400, 500 years before Jesus. It's traditionally credited to the sage Lao Tzu, though the text authorship, date of composition, and date of compilation are debated. The oldest excavated portions dates to the 4th century BC. There you go. We'll talk about that a little bit. He may not have existed. The Tao Te Ching is central to both philosophical and religious Taoism and has been highly influential to Chinese philosophy and religious practice in general. It is generally taken as preceding the Zhuangzi, the other core Taoist text, as claimed within the text itself. Terminology originated within the text has been reinterpreted. Let's see, what do we have? The text is well known in the West and is one of the most translated texts in world literature. It is commonly rendered the Tao Te Ching, following the Wade-Giles romanization, or as the Tao Te Ching, following Pinyin. It can either way is okay. People tell me there's a right way and a wrong way, and they try to correct me, and I tell them, look, the right way is Chinese. Don't correct me. Don't tell me the right English way to say it. Okay, it can be translated as the classic of the way and its power, the book of the Tao and its virtue, the book of the way of virtue, the book of the way and virtue, the Tao and its characteristics, the canon of reason and virtue, the classic book of integrity and the way, or a treatise on the principle and its action. This is very important we'll keep that in mind. We're going to build something up here. That first verse, that's going to become very easy. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. That's going to be so easy to understand. Ancient Chinese books were commonly referenced by the name of their real or supposed author, in this case, Old Master. Lao Tzu. That's what that means, Old Master. So that's who wrote this book, somebody named Old Master. As such, the Tao Te Ching is also sometimes referred to as the Lao Tzu, especially in Chinese sources. Let's see. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to do is provide another kind of this overview idea of something that's going on. The Tao Te Ching is not Taoism. The same way, the Dhammapada is not Buddhism. In the same way that if you went to Jesus and read the Sermon on the Mount, that is not Christianity. There's a core teaching that precedes the religion. This is a core teaching to Taoism, but everybody must, this is really the hardcore path right here. If you're not going to do a lifestyle and you just want the hardcore path, that's what this is. Hardcore path. The problem is this: humans are creatures of habit. So it's not enough to come from a hurt place or a bad place or something like that and just say, I'm going to heal myself and then have nothing left in place. What is typically important is humans need community. We need to be together. We need to be somewhere where the influence is good, where we're creating new habits. So instead of just saying, okay, here's what you must do to heal, go through the mechanical process. Instead of that, they say, well, you know what? Come and join we're going to do this. We're going to have peaceful things. Here's what's gone wrong. Things are out of balance. Things are out of whack. Instead of going into a real hardcore look at your memories, it goes into a lifestyle that is softer and gentler. And it might include turning inward and doing the hardcore stuff. But at the same time, don't just do that and then go sit and look at knots on the wall. We need something to do and we need something positive to do. So the religions come about then as communal lifestyles that are meant to help people get together and live that way. What we're here right now is not talking about Taoism. We're talking about the core teaching that Taoism is framed upon right there. We're going stark. All right, I'm going to explain something here and just be very blunt with it because it's just this stark, and I get tired of kind of debating people with it. The verse in here that the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Go find videos on that. I'm not going to post them. It means it's nebulous. There's something that never can be quite understood, that people have not turned the corner with this material. Taoists that tell you that, this is a very simple instruction. It's a really simple instruction, and it's very common across the board. And it is so important to understand that, to understand the entire rest of the book. Does that sound arrogant? Let me tell you what it would be like. I can go to the book of Genesis, and when Noah was naked and drunk in his tent after the flood, that's a metaphoric representation of the idea that we have purged something out, are uncovered, and feel good from our new life. It didn't really happen literally. There's a metaphorical representation of something in there that is very interactive for me if I'm on a self-healing path. I can go find the PhD minister that's gone to every preaching school and college and Bible college in the world, and they don't know that. What authority does that person have? That person has authority over people who don't understand it. They don't have authority over me, okay? The Taoists, guess what? You're on deck. There is something in here that's easy to understand, and you're not getting it. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The Tao that is experienced is the eternal Tao. It's that simple. This is an instruction that it's a mental process. Across the board, we're going to find similar teachings. You want it plain language? What does the Buddha say in the Dhammapada, verse 1? All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It's founded on our thoughts. It's based on our thoughts. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. What is the Tao? The Tao is the pathway. It's this process. I can talk to you all day long about how to go heal yourself, and guess what? You don't go, wow, thank you, I'm all better now. Nope, you got to go take the path yourself. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Not until you take the Tao does it become internal. That's an easy thing to understand. On editing, I realized I said internal instead of eternal. You know what? It's the same. It is internal, and that's when it becomes real. It appears elsewhere in other material and more. It's a little more difficult to see. But all of the material is mental. We are products of our stored experiences and our perceptions in life. Let me find another one that's super easy. People might not like this one, but here it is. All right, the Kabbalion, Hermetic philosophy. 7 Hermetic principles. 7, interesting. The principle of mentalism is number 1. This is a mental process. Then we got correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender. We're going to find that there's going to be something. I don't want to muddy the waters. What I want to do is say that we get evidence across the board that we're supposed to make this a mental process, that we're products of that. So the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Yeah. You can sit there and talk to each other and preach all day long about what to do. Not until a person goes in and says, yep, I got that memory and it feels like this. I have to go deal with it until it doesn't feel that way. Does it become the true Tao? Bingo. You know what, though? I encourage certain thought processes, and I think seeker-type brain types are going to have this naturally. You question what you get and go, where did that come from? Why are you telling me that? I hear you say that, but where do you get it from? Why should I believe that? You're just stating that like it just appeared out of nowhere. Where does it come from? We need to know that stuff. So at some point, I'm thinking to myself, if there is a master named Lao Tzu a couple thousand years ago that had a message for me, and I'm going to treat this, what is he? He's a guru. He's a master. This is his teaching. So treat this as if you just walked up to him and said, Lao Tzu, what's the problem with life? What's life about? Where do I come from? And he's going to start right here. This is taking the place of Lao Tzu right now. This is his teaching as you're asking about life. So with that in mind, is he going to tell you something that you can't figure out? He's a human being. Does he have something that you don't have? Is he going to tell you, here's something that is so weird, I'm just going to tell you it's weird, I don't even understand it? Well, why would I even follow something like that? No, there's something in here that is very intentional for us to read. And when people tell you that it can't be understood, they can't understand it. And you need to know that when you're going through this material and you listen to experts, there's a point you're going to find their limitations. They can teach you a lot of stuff, and then you're going to get to a point where you ask a question, and they're going to come up with something like that, and you're going to go, all right, we're done. I'll go look now on my own. Okay, so bear that in mind. Don't listen when people say you can't figure it out, or it's something, it's just too strange, it's whatever. Where does it come from? Guess what? You can't figure it. You don't get access to it. Get out of the way. No, I don't think so. Think it through. Okay, that was about 15 minutes of unpacking. I hope everybody understands what's going on. You can go look at a lot of stuff out there, and I find it's just really not very complete. It's not good. They're not understanding what is here. This is incredibly interactive, and it's globally common. It is for the human being right there. People are not looking at it in that way, so they're not extracting what's there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and post up the pages that we can get to in this video, and let's go ahead and start the interpretation. All right, let's set the scene. We just found the old master on the mountain. we're buddies and we just have a rough life and we want to get out of there. We're beat, we're hurt. Life sucks. We don't know what happened. We finally find him and we ask him, Lao Tzu, old master, please help me. What's life about? And he sits us down and he begins. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only their manifestations. Yet mystery and manifestation comes from the same source. This source is called darkness. Darkness within darkness. The gateway to all understanding. We sit and look at him quizzically because that's just weird. He smiles and says, go. You must understand that first before any lessons. Return to me and tell me what that means, and we will begin. Confused, we look at each other, shrug, get up and walk off. We know we have to figure it out. We know we want more answers, but we know we can't get those answers unless we figure this out. He's not going to tell us straight up. We would only know it academically. We have to figure it out for ourselves. It has to work out in our mind. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Let's go see what those mean. All right, let's pop out of our imaginary world there for a minute and come over to an academic realm where we're going to gather some things up where we can then go back into that realm and understand it better. We're so far removed from what is going on and what was said that we're going to have to work at this a bit. But there's enough commonality globally to put all this together. It can be averaged out. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. What I'm going to do is move down to something I've done previously. Here we have it. The Tao that is experienced is the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. This is leaving experiences in life unjudged. It's best to do that. In the beginning, that is where we come from. We do not have any, we don't have any memories to work through. We know that it's about us, so I'm really turning a corner real harshly here on people. This is us. The unnameable is the eternally real. This is about me and my mind, my life experience. The unnameable is the eternally real. When we were children, infants, laughing, goofing around, playing, that was the eternally real. We had nothing named. We had no memories. Being void is what is real to live through. Those judgments, poor in spirit, is what we seek if you heard it from Jesus. Naming is the origin of all particular things. That is what I name. My experiences of all particular things in my life, my world, I emerge and my experience become a continual part of me in the manner that I hold them. I have an experience, I give it an emotion, I store it away, I live through it. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Remember, this is not physical. This is not about wanting that new car. This is about hanging on to something from the past that you don't have resolved. You got to turn it inward and strip off the analogs and understand what they mean. They don't mean what they say. Desire means not that I physically desire it, but that I am mentally hanging on to it and not letting it go. Free from that, free from judged experiences, you live free of them in life. That would be our pure in spirit. I live in the kingdom of God, or the good graces of God. Free from desire, you realize the mystery of life. Caught in desire, you see only their manifestations. This is the things that we have judged in life that we are now hanging on to. We don't consciously or physically necessarily desire them. It could be pain, shame, hurt, memories, feelings of a lack of self-worth, all of that stuff. We don't physically desire that, but we are caught in that mentally. We have to understand that word desire means I'm not letting go of it. caught in what you don't let go of, you see only the manifestations. You see the repeated cyclical return of it. Your life experiences will revolve around your emotional state of memories. For the judgment with which you judge others will be likewise judged unto you. This is not physical. This is spiritual. This is mental. The judgment with which you judge others means the judgment that you hold from past experiences is going to be re-emerging. Yet mystery and manifestation come from the same source. This source is called darkness. This is important to understand. Something happens. There's energy for it to happen. It's a memory. Boom, it's gone. It's over with. It's done, isn't it? No, because it continues to reemerge. Where does the power for that to come from? It's not happening anymore. It happened one time or in the past, or hopefully that's the case. You can't dry off when you're standing in the rain. If you're in a bad place, you better get out of there first. But as you're trying to resolve things, or as you're living life experiences, these cyclical things that you're hanging on to are going to continue to emerge. So let me just get into this here. Everything we have named with emotion, both good and bad, continues to emerge from us, getting power from someplace we do not consciously supply. Everything we have judged continues to get fuel from there. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you would be an Abrahamic way of saying that. These are nested deep. They have to be interpreted. They have to be played out in the psyche. What this is basically saying that whatever good or whatever bad happens to you in life, the energy for that is coming from the same place. Same place, same source. It's an energy source. How do you want to use your energy? It's your judgments that dictate that. I'm jumping ahead. Darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding. Gateway. Gateway. Who is standing at the narrow gate? Where does a gateway come from? What does a gateway mean? What does it mean if Rumi says, I'm going to paraphrase, I've been standing on the lip of insanity, knocking, wanting to know reasons. The door opens. I've been knocking from the inside. Darkness refers to our mind, stuff we hold away, and the gateway is to enter in. We need to turn inward. This whole process is about, well, I'll cover it in a second here. But we have a place within a place. We can all turn to our memories very comfortably. That's darkness. But we have memories that we keep hidden. That is the darkness within the darkness. So what we have here in this tire setup right here, let's cover it. The Tao that is experienced is the eternal Tao. Leaving experiences unjudged is the way to live. Being free of all of that is how we live free in life. My experiences that I've judged, that I've named, become a part of who I am. I'm going to live through my mental experiences, my memories. Free from those judged experiences, I live free from them in life. My experiences are going to caught in desires. Yeah. Okay. So whatever I'm hanging on to is going to continue to emerge over and over as it gets triggered. And whether it's good or bad doesn't matter. Energy comes from the same place. It's not up to us. It's not up to, we can't sit here and say, I'm getting bad stuff, I'm getting good stuff. The energy is neutral. The energy is neutral. You use it based on your filtering. Again, I'm jumping ahead. That's what we name. And then caught in what we name, we continue to experience them. Darkness refers to, okay. Does that make sense? Now understanding that, we go, okay, I came from someplace, I emerged, I began having mental experiences, and I became a product of those mental experiences, and they all reside up here. There's a gateway to find them that I have to turn inward. It's a dark place, and then there's a dark place within that dark place. Here's the thought experiment. I think this is very valuable. Imagine taking triplets at birth, and for whatever reason, you have to they separate completely. One is raised in Saudi Arabia, one in Moscow, and one in Alabama. They never hear or see of each other, but if you could 40 years later bring them together and look at them, and they would look identical, but they would sound different, they would think different, they might even hate each other. And what was the difference? We need to know we're a part of that too. This is not going off subject. This is continually illustrating the idea that we are mental products, and that idea that the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao really means that you can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk when you're sitting in quiet solitude and something is emerging, creating turmoil inside of your mind from within you. That is when the Tao, you see that the Tao was talking about it did nothing. There's a point you have to go do something and address that memory. Only then does it become eternal. You know, there's another part of this. I kind of debate whether to say it. It's a little more obscure to see. There's a point where in the beginning, the unnameable is the eternally real. That is what we want to actually return to. That state is unnameable, where the unnameable is eternally real. If we were looking at Abrahamic material, that would be where Adam and Eve were naked and unashamed in the Garden of Eden, right there. The unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. This first sin was the naming of particular things. And then free from desire, caught in desire. You see what happened is we became this bundle of things. So what needs to be understood here is there's an implication that early on in our life, before we had life experiences, there was a pure place that we want to return to. We want to get back to that state. It's harder to see that. There's a goal. What do we want? Free from desire, you realize the mystery. That's the goal. We need to be free of desire, which was before we named things. Keep unwrapping it in your head. You got to make it yours. Okay. Now we go back up the mountain. We go find Lao Tzu, and we tell him that. And he goes, you guys are worthy students. Sit down and we'll have lesson 2. All right, let's begin. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other. Long and short define each other. High and low depend on each other. Before and after follow each other. Therefore, the master acts without doing anything and teaches without saying anything. Things arise and the master lets them come. Things disappear and the master lets them go. The master has, but doesn't possess. Acts, but doesn't expect. When the master's work is done, the master forgets it. That is why it lasts forever. So I picture he points again and says, all right, that's it. Here's lesson number 2. Return when you can tell me what those mean. This time we're excited. We know what's going on. Get going, kids. Come back and tell me when you have the answer. So we wander off through the mountains and go begin to ponder. Let's go back to class. Okay, we're on the second lesson here now as we get into it. This would be the second verse, or the second page. And you can see the green is everything that I've added in here. I went ahead and described these as you and I sit and figure this out. This is what we come up with. Hope you don't mind. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When pure younger self, we did not judge and therefore did not become products of inner division. Once we see specific beauty, we can only see it in contrast to something we have made ugly in our mind's eye. This is only one way of creating names for all particular things in our individual life. So yeah, when you're a kid, you don't see things as beautiful or ugly, do you? Yeah, everything is just what it is. But as we begin to move through life, we begin to divide. And that continues on through good and bad. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. Same as above, we're becoming divided. Remus and Romulus, Cain and Abel. When we like something, we must dislike something else. This is normal for survival, but we are applying it to people in life that we judge poorly. Then we become mentally divided products of these judgments. This is a normal course, but we need to know it to extract ourselves from it. Some is okay, I don't like liver, but that doesn't hurt my course in life. We're talking about things that have emotional baggage with them that cause us to feel hurt or cause us guilt, shame, things of all of that stuff. Or just being connected, maybe feeling a funk. Maybe you don't have anything that you've trapped, but you're just living life, not realizing you can live from your higher awareness. Being and non-being create each other. There will always be two sides, and we need to be able to walk in the other's shoes to avoid the trappings of planting a harsh judgment to plant in the rest of the garden. Yeah, you get that right. That's my shifting into analogous verbiage there. We don't want to store things. This is judging things and putting them away into our mind, into our memory, and we're going to begin to live through them. Difficult and easy support each other. We're dividing in mental thinking. Long and short define each other. We're losing our balance. High and low depend each other. Balance. Before and after follow each other. This one's a little bit different. This is cause and effect and balance. Maybe more cause and effect. Before and after follow each other. Follow each other. That's cycle and cause and effect. Therefore, the master acts without doing anything. The master here is the seeker. You, me, whoever is on this course, no, we're not masters, we're called masters. Therefore, the master acts without doing anything. Be still. And teaches without saying. Be an example in life. A shining city on a hill cannot be dimmed, also known as don't preach. This is a seeker's path, not a follower's path. Metaphorically, everyone walks on their own 2 feet. We don't follow supernatural teachings from another man. We find answers those teachers don't know are there. Okay? Teaches without saying anything. We just live our life. You don't go around telling people, hey, here's how you solve your problems. You got to let people come to you. Things arise and the master lets them come. So some of the healing inner parts, like the Buddha says, watch it rise, watch it go. You do that in meditation, watching your breath. But also, if you were to study it, you would see that there are painful memories. You watch them come, you watch them go. The hurt. Don't fight it, but learn to accept it. This causes it to dissipate and go away. It becomes meaningless over time. The reason is those memories get the power from our own thinking. However you feel about it, emotionally, and however you think about it is how it is created. Things arise and the master lets them come. What we have to do is disconnect from the memories of that. So as these memories come and go, you let them come and let them go without interacting with them. Second part, watch it come, watch it go. Do not judge it or act upon it. Simply observe its motion within you without emotion. This is the higher self being engaged for healing. As this happens more and more, you begin to disconnect from that emotional feeling. So you watch it come, you watch it go. The master has but doesn't possess. These are mental processes. Grasping to things causes existential suffering and a need to guard and protect them as a part of your life. I'm going to just come up with some cheesy examples here. It's okay to own a car, but I would question my life choices if I had to park it diagonally in the spaces and go out and look at it every hour to make sure it's still pretty. The car will age anyway. How do you wish to live? Worried about what? The master does not treat possessions as lifeblood. What is this? Do not lay yourself up possessions on earth where moth and dust corrupt, but lay them up in heaven. Yeah, there's more important things in life than owning stuff and going, I live for this stuff that I own. Again, at the template level, the master is the seeker. Us, we need to become these things. The master also acts, but doesn't expect. Cause and effect are going to occur. Okay, life is cause and effect. Everything that happens is due to something before it. You don't turn this stuff off and on. It's always in place. So if you're acting with expectations, you're floating in a field trying to fight what's going on. Okay, we just need to change the quality of that. You do for others and it will be done in return. Maybe not in that moment in time, but we flow in life with a general state of our own emotional state and connectedness to it all. So this means just go through life without having expectations of other people doing or being something, but it's important for you to be the way you are. Life will change in a way that you fit with. When the master's work is done, the master forgets it. What is our work? We seek emptiness to find a happy place to live mentally. Buddha, poor in spirit, Jesus. Or here, we seek to be free from desires to realize the mystery. Life unfolds naturally for us. We don't fight life. We adjust our emotions and perceptions and then just sit back and evaluate the new ride or the life experience. That is why it lasts forever. Once we have let go of our accumulated, unbalanced thoughts, called desires here, the free flow of life does not stop. We must complete the work, forget the past emotional connections, and life flows automatically and never stopping. All right, does that make sense? They're very cryptic, but you're meant to figure them out like that, and they're to be mental processes. So after we get done deciding this, and we can probably tweak some stuff around what I said there, and there's more to it, there's less. That's probably not quite accurate. I mean, we're just kind of getting into it, trying to find ways of seeing that there's commonality here. And so as I go through there, I would look at that and go, oh yeah, that's exactly how life comes about. I have no bones about that interpretation. I see that this is something that is very interactive for me, that I become the master, not that I am a master. I am a seeker. Maybe that would be a better term to use in the future. What I should do is say the seeker. But it's following patterns that in other material, the more you read, the more you see those patterns, and they actually help you understand what's going on back and forth. And somebody else is somewhere else calling, getting an opportunity to name all of the animals and stuff. And right here, you see naming going on. You go, okay, I'm connecting in with that. I see what that naming process is, or all of that going on. Anyway, so if I'm going to end this here, I had a little bit of fun with it, played around with it a bit, but ultimately at some point, I think you could go through this again and again, but it doesn't help people. You go through here and you start reading things about cups and houses and things like that. That is who you are. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center whole that makes the wagon move. We put ourselves into these verses. I am the wheel. Joining spokes together in a wheel means I am creating my life. But it's the center whole, what is inside of that wheel, the hub, that makes the wagon move. So whatever is up here is what dictates my flow in life. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. What are we? We are the pot. We shape clay into a pot. That means we created our life. In the same way that we join spokes together in a wheel, we shape clay into a pot. Up here, we built ourselves into a wheel. Down here, the analog is we're building into a pot. But it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. What do we put inside of ourselves? We hammer wood for a house. We shape clay into a pot. We join spokes together in a wheel. We are now the house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. Just keep making them yours like that. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. We work with life, but whatever emerges from us is what we experience anyway. Okay, go ahead and just do that on your own. That's my take on it. That's how I do it. I think some people think it's kind of harsh. Some people don't like it. There's a lifestyle that goes with it though too. You have to, this is just what I'm doing here is the very stark, here's how you came about, here's how you heal. It doesn't include a lifestyle. You ever seen artists, musical artists that had these really, rough, tough lives or something like that. At the end of their careers, it's like, oh, it's a good thing they, turned to Jesus and cleaned themselves up. And, somehow what you see is people that have been on a very destructive course. You don't just quit doing what you're doing. You have to come up with something different. You need a lifestyle. That's just one example that are common there. But if I'm, wanting to change my life from, one that used to sit around and be sedentary, I might have to go buy a bicycle and start riding or something like that. You want to replace you want to replace your old habits with positive new habits. It's not just a matter of emptying out the old stuff and then sitting there devoid. Unless you have the personality that's that way. I'm not one that's I have a healthy or a fairly good lifestyle. Lately, I've been a little more sedentary as I get into this. I'm not nearly as active as I used to be, but mentally I am. So I'm enjoying that, but I'm definitely feeling the results of it as I get older, putting on some pounds and, not walking as fast as I used to, making those old man sounds when you get up. There's things that we need to do that are positive for our lives. And if we're not doing positive things, if we're doing negative things and we're trying to get away from the negative things, we have to shift to positive things. We need to consume that time and that drive to do something, but put it towards something positive. Humans habituate. We habituate. Choose your habits and bring them online. Take the time to make it work. All of that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, okay. I just needed to take a break here. I'm gonna do a next video back in Genesis. Sometimes I do these just because it's hard to stay into it. It's thick. And sometimes I have to take breaks from it. So, all right. Hope it was enjoyable. Feel free to leave any comments below. See you in the next video.